You ever see that episode of South Park where Cartman is just like totally beefcaked up and trying to get jacked?
What's that stuff? Weight gain 4,000? It's helping me bulk up.
Well, you might think that that's exactly what creatine's all about, just because you want to be that. But there are a lot of other benefits to creatine, specifically in the world of vegetarians and vegans, that I want to address. So we're going to break down a couple of studies that might influence you to take maybe just 1 or 2 grams of creatine now and then. After this video, check out Thrive Market as well. What's really cool is with Thrive Market, you can sort by different diet types. So if you're a vegetarian or if you're vegan, it's that easy. Like you can select vegan, you can select vegetarian, and boom, it's gonna have all the food items that you want. But hey, maybe you're concerned about, I don't want vegan food that's full of sugar. Well, that's cool too. You can select a box that's gonna be sugar-free or low sugar. So you can also select vegan and ketogenic. It's pretty crazy, the filtering system that Thrive Market has to make sure you get what you want. So they're a big supporter, a big sponsor of this channel. I appreciate them very much. They've been on this channel for years. So I highly recommend you check them out. If you use that link below, you will get 25% off your first order plus a free gift. So check out Thrive Market, get your groceries delivered to your doorstep, and let's rock. First study I want to mention was published in the journal Medicine and Science and Sports and Exercise. And this was pretty wicked cool. What this looked at was 24 non-vegetarians versus 18 vegetarians. Now I talked about this in another video, but it's interesting to talk about it in this context. So what they did is they took some muscle biopsies of these people and they found that people that were not vegetarian had sufficient levels of creatine, meaning that, okay, they really didn't need to supplement creatine to get to a normal level. But those that were vegetarian ended up having pretty diminished levels of creatine. Now, creatine can only be stored in muscle. So literally, if you are not eating muscle meat, you are not getting creatine in, plain and simple. So you have to kind of take it in a synthetic form, which sounds bad, and it's been so just like monopolized by like the muscle building industry, we don't get a chance to actually think about it. But what's wild is with this study, they gave these subjects that were vegetarian a small dose of creatine, and when they did a muscle biopsy again, they found their creatine levels had restored to kind of like a normal sufficient level, but also their bench press levels improved and they were just on par with the meat eaters again. So it was kind of wild to see how it had this powerful effect on muscle. Now, you may not resistance train, you may not be interested in that, so let's talk about another interesting aspect, and that's the brain. So we think about creatine, and I've addressed this multiple times before, that creatine is not just about creating like contractile strength within muscle tissue. Creatine is about ATP. It's about creating ATP via the fastest pathway. And the brain is going to use creatine too. So people use creatine as a nootropic. But then there's an argument out there that if you are not deficient in creatine, can creatine actually be additive for nootropic for brain performance? Well, anyway, I can't answer that one, but what I can answer is what a study that was published in the British Journal Nutrition looked at. And this found that when they looked at vegetarians versus meat eaters, they found that creatine supplementation in vegetarians improved their memory, and quite an improvement just overall in mental function. However, when they gave creatine supplementation to meat eaters, there wasn't much of a change. Okay, so what this implies is that, yes, when you're vegan, when you're vegetarian, you more than likely are going to be deficient in creatine. And if you are not supplementing, now I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this, if you're not supplementing creatine, I would almost put money on the fact that you are deficient in it. So some of these performance declines that people see when they go vegetarian or performance declines they see when they go vegan may not be protein related. It actually could just be creatine related and you're not getting that initial surge of strength that you need to get across the line, right? Now, additionally, we have to remember that creatine is going to draw water into a muscle cell. So if you have water in the muscle cell, you have more intracellular volume. Okay, you have more leverage. Okay, the larger a muscle belly is, if it's saturated with some water, that is a powerful lever arm. That is going to give you more contractile strength and more ability to move, whether that is for endurance work, whether that is for anaerobic, whatever. If you have more water volume in your muscle, it's going to help prevent you from getting dehydrated. It's going to give you more contractile strength and more leverage, and it's going to give you more actual ATP right out the gate. So I don't really see a reason why you wouldn't supplement with it unless you have just a complete disagreement with having a synthetic form of creatine. Now, how much should you have? No more than like 1 or 2 grams. I do not see a reason for someone that is vegetarian or vegan to load up on 5+ grams unless they are really trying to go for that extra kind of ergogenic aid that they're going to get out of it. If you're looking to just live your life and feel like you have a little bit more energy, then yeah, that might be the case. Plus, you might want to check out my videos that I did on red blood cells and talking about vitamin B12, because that's going to be another piece that's going to combine with creatine to give you that performance boost and pure oxygen saturation that you need to really perform your best. So as always, keep it locked in here on my channel. I'll see you tomorrow.